Hey, Virginia hunters. Happy Saturday. That's the day after Friday and the day before Sunday. So anyway, closing in on August 1st, so watch my other video about 90 days. A lot of you guys have been asking me about weapons and stuff and gear. So what I'm going to do today, I'm going to do a couple weapons videos. I'm going to talk about the CMMG conversion kit and give you the good, the bad, the ugly, and then I'm going to talk about disassembly and assembly of the AR, disassembly and assembly of the AK, and I'm going to do show you my belt that I carry along with my plate carrier. So kind of get an idea how my stuff's set up and maybe give you some ideas where to start if you haven't started yet. But tick-tock goes the clock, so better get started real quick playing those cards. Alright, I'm going to set this camera up over my bench, over my little workbench here, and we'll get started. So, see if I can get this done here without too much trouble. Alright, looking pretty good. Plug this thing in, make sure I got juice forever. Alright, so what you got here is your basic AR, AR-15, and first thing you want to do, one, you want to make sure it's on safe. So it's on safe, this is fire, this is on safe. Then you want to clear the rifle. Make sure there's nothing inside the chamber right there, good to go. And then you want to look at what you're going to install. So this is the CMMG 22 conversion kit. It came with 3 of these mags. I don't know if you can see that, but that's the conversion kit. It's all there is to it. There's nothing else to it. There's the action is that's all there is. So CMMG comes with 3 10-round magazines. I bought the kit, and this is what I use to train with. I know what recoil is for 5.56, so it really doesn't do me any good to practice taking the recoil because it's negligible. But this saves me a lot of money, a lot of money, and with ammo hard to get a hold of right now because of the COVID-19 pandemic. This helps me out. It saves me a lot of money. So, all right. So we've made sure the weapon's clear. Make sure it's on safe. Number 1, safety. I preach it all the time. Treat every weapon as if it were loaded. Never point a weapon at anything you don't intend to shoot. Keep your weapon on safe until keep your fingers straightened off the trigger until you're ready to fire. And keep your weapon on safe until you intend to fire. So, knock that pin out with my knuckle. Pull that back takedown pin, and I have the weapon open, just like that. Pretty simple, right? So I'll go ahead, extract the bolt carrier group, and insert that is really literally all there is to it. Now I run a mag in it, and it charges just like a normal weapon. If I pull the charging handle to the rear, I'll chamber a 22 round. And I got 10 shots in there to train with. Really good setup. I mean, the magazine's kind of like the same size as your regular mag. You can close the dust cover just like a regular AR-15. This is very similar to what the Not Fucking Around Coalition carries, the 22. Alright, so anyway, so that's the CMMG 22 conversion kit. And here's what I like about it. If I don't want to run this gun that day and I want to run a different gun, I just do the exact same thing to the other gun. Take the bolt out of the other gun, insert this, and I can run the other gun for training. But This is the one I use the most right here. This is custom built. I built it and painted it, and kind of sexy. I like it. Good all around, dependable 16-inch gun. And the CMMG has not jammed on me yet. Has not jammed on me yet. I have no issues. I know some other people that have them. They say they have problems with them. I have not had any issues with them whatsoever. So pull that mag out. Make sure she's clear. That is the CMMG. Conversion kit. Alright, so I told you we were going to talk disassembly and assembly. I've been to a lot of trainings with a lot of different card players, and get on the range or whatever, and they start having malfunctions. And I'm like, when's the last time you pulled your weapon apart and checked it? And they're like, well, I haven't. I'm like, well, there's your problem. How long have you had it? Well, I've had it a year. I haven't cleaned it at all. Well, no kidding. So carbon gets built up in there, and so we'll do a little disassembly. Not a big deal. I'm just going to talk field strip, right, basically. So I'll punch my pins. I know the weapon's safe. I know it's not loaded. So I pull my pins. I separate the upper and lower receiver. And pretty much for like field stripping and cleaning, just what I do is I'll inspect inside my trigger, inside my trigger group, make sure there's no obstructions in there, dragging through the woods. Sometimes you get, weeds or whatever in there. Make sure we're good to go. No issues. Put it back on safe. Buffer and buffer springs in good shape. Not a problem. Set it off to the side. Your upper receiver is the main thing that you need to focus on, folks. You've got to keep this thing clean, lubed, and ready to roll. So I'll go ahead and pull out my charge and handling group. And then I would want to clean, this weapon's clean because I clean it after every use, but I got a little bleed on it. But you want to get you a good chamber brush, clean your chamber, and you want to run patches through it, keep your bore nice and clean. You can run a bore brush through it. Make sure it's a brass bore brush. You don't want to use steel. Keep all that carbon and copper and buildup out of here. I like to use hoppies. As you see, it's backwards, but alright. So I like hoppies for a nitro solvent for getting that stuff out of the bore and the chamber. I use that a lot. Hoppies is good stuff. Then I'll go ahead and I'll put a lubricant in it with a patch. I'll run a patch of lubricant through it, make sure the barrel's nice and lubed up for the next use. That's your bolt carrier group. Pretty standard, pretty simple, pretty easy. So I'm going to tell you all the components of the bolt carrier group. First thing on the side right here, you got a firing pin, retaining pin, and that's what it looks like right there. It's kind of got a little head on it there, like a cotter pin. So once you take it out of that hole, alright, there's your firing pin. Look at all the bleed. See how black that is? That's bleed from, hold on, that's bleed from lubing it up after. That's coming out of the, it's coming out of the gas tube. Bleeding down on that, but that's your firing pin. Pretty simple. So you got your firing pin out, you got your firing pin, retaining pin. Pretty simple. Now right here you got a cam pin. So right here's your cam pin. You want to turn it to a 90 and then take it out. So there's your cam pin. Pretty simple. Alright, then you'll pull your bolt out. And there's your gas rings right here. So right here's your gas rings. If you shoot a lot, you'll need to replace these. Make sure you have spares. Now, on the side of your bolt you have an extractor pin, retaining pin, and I just kind of punch it out with the firing pin. Ancient Marine Corps trick. And they actually make tools for this, but hold on, let me get it down here where I can see it. Why does it not want to come out? You fart knocker. Okay, well we'll go the other way. I'm cool with that. I'm cool with it. If you're cool with it, I'm cool with it. Yeah. Alright. There's your extractor pin, retaining pin. And there's your extractor. Pretty simple. Now, on my extractor, the spring came out. So you got to make sure that that spring goes back in that extractor. If not, it will not eject around. So there's where it goes, as you see right there. It's got a little O-ring on it and a spring. That goes in your extractor. And there's your bolt. So a lot of scrubbing, a lot of scraping. You get a lot of carbon buildup back here on the back side of this. A lot of carbon buildup. You got to clean that off. Make sure your rings, they got slits in them. Make sure those slits are not lined up. You want them in thirds all the way around. There's 3 gas rings on there. So you want to make sure you separate that stuff. Alright? So to put it back, disassemble, assembly. That daggone extractor spring don't want to stay in there now. That's not good. But you gotta have it. Alright, so we'll try this. We'll set it up. Alright. We'll put the extractor pin, retaining pin back in there. And if you need a little tap, 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 just use the edge of the bolt. It ain't going to hurt anything. It's an old Marine Corps trick. And now, here's what's funny. This is the cam pin hole right here. So one side of it's beveled, one side of it's not. See that bevel on that side? That side's not. The cam pin only goes in one way. The reason being is because it lines up the extractor with the ejection port. So if I try to put it in from this side, it won't go. But when I put it in from that side, it'll go. And notice it stops. But if I flip it around, it will not go in there. So it only goes in one way. But if you can't get it in there, turn your bolt 180 degrees. Alright? We'll slide that in there. And we line it up. You got to line it up with that slot right there. See that little slot? You line it up right there. Slide your cam pin down there. And it's 180 degrees out. We'll slide it down in there. Boom. So once you get it in there like that, then you got to turn it a 90-degree angle. I know. If I can get it to turn. Alright, 90-degree angle, slide it forward. Now, that creates a slot that the firing pin can go through. So you turn the bolt up, take the firing pin and just slide it down in there. I like to push it down with my finger. Take your firing pin, retaining pin, insert it back in the hole. Boom. Now, here you go. I'm going to show you how to tell if your gas rings are good or not. Once you got the bolt all the way out, right, you can shake it out. You should be able to stand it up on end on the bolt, and the bolt should not slide down. if the bolt slides down, you need to replace your gas rings. So we'll set it down here, and it did not slide down. There you go. There you go. I had to push it down. So now, in order to put it back in the firearm, bolt's got to be all the way out. I know this seems elementary for a lot of folks, but there's a lot of folks that don't know this stuff. So we'll take the charging handle, slide it back in this little slot, and I don't want to insert it all the way. So I'll take that. This is the piece right here on top. It rides inside the charging handle. So it should slide right down in there, just like that. Alright, once you got that done, you got your weapon all clean, you're good to go. You want to go ahead and put your pins in. Now we're going to do a function check. Okay, so I'm going to charge the weapon. Alright, now I'm going to put the weapon on fire. Now I'm going to squeeze the trigger and I'm going to hold it. Hold it to the rear. Now I'm going to charge the weapon again. Alright, weapon's charged. Now I'm going to release the trigger and I should hear an audible click. Oh, there's an audible click. Now I'm going to squeeze the trigger again and it should go off. Now I'm going to release the trigger. I'm going to charge the weapon and put it on safe. Now I'm going to make sure it does not fire. It does not fire. Now I'm going to put it on fire, squeeze the trigger, it's good to go. Yeah, I don't store my guns with the hammers in the back position. I always store them with the hammers forward. So it just keeps the tension off the springs, longevity type deal. So anyway, that's all there is to disassembly, assembly, field strip, and cleaning of a AR-15 style rifle. So not bad. Hang tight. We're going to get into the AK-47. Alright, AK-47, got the paratrooper stock on it. That's it. I usually keep it folded up, but for disassembly and assembly, AK is a pretty simple gun, but remember, safety first, number one. Take the weapon off safe. I'll pull the charging handle to the rear, make sure it's clear. Okay, it's good to go. Alright, nothing in the chamber. Now, there's a button right here on the back of the cover plate. I'll push in on that button and remove the cover plate. Now I have the guide rod and guide spring in the back. That was the button that I pushed to remove the cover spring. That's the guide rod, and there's a little slot right here. There's a little slot right here that it goes in. See, it slides out and I remove it. Bam. There you go. Now, the bolt can come to the rear. Real simple. And I'll take the bolt all the way to the rear, and I'll rotate it to a 90 and finish removing it. And that's the bolt group and the drive rod. So, notice it's a little dirty because I haven't fired it in a long time and I failed to clean it because it's an AK, right? You don't have to clean these things. Alright, pretty simple. You don't really need to, but you can. And what I do is you can remove your gas tube. This is the gas tube on here. Real simple. Really a big gas tube. Not going to get clogged unless it's full of mud. But really a big gas tube. So I'll slide that back in there. There's a little lever right here by your rear sight. Just shove that thing back down until it locks in place. That's pretty much all there is to it. And again, your trigger group and everything in here, you want to inspect it, make sure there's no obstructions in there, so on and so forth. Now, this is a lot more simpler than the AK. This is the bolt, carrier and bolt. Slide this all the way back, rotate it, and pull it out. That's all there is to clean. That's it right there. That's the bolt on an AK. Alright, slide it in. Rotate it, and that's it. It's in there. And you punch your board just like you would do your AR. one thing about punching the bore and cleaning the bore, I always like to clean it from the chamber side out the barrel. You don't want to take a chance on nicking the crown on the end of the barrel, because if you do nick the crown, it will affect your accuracy. So I'll take this in, I'll slide it back in the gas tube. I'll rotate this back in. You got to put it back in, back here in the back. Alright, once it's in, slide it forward. And you take your guide rod and guide spring. It's got a little slot right here in the very top. Right here in the very top of the bolt, or the action, whatever you want to call it. And I'll take that guide rod and guide spring and I'll slide it right back in that slot. Right there in the back. Boom. You could actually fire the weapon like this if you wanted to. But you take the cover, slide the cover back on the back of the AK, and I like to just hold it forward with one hand and whack it with the other one. Boom, there you go. So there's the AK-47, pretty simple. Now, again, function check. So I'll pull the bolt to the rear with the safety down, and I'll squeeze the trigger and hold it. Alright? Well, hell, I let it go. So let me try it again. I hold it. I'm going to release it. Boom, boom. I released it, audible click, and then squeeze it again to fire. That's your trigger reset on the AK. Then I will release it. I'll pull the bolt to the rear. I'll pull the safety up, and I'll attempt to fire the gun. Nothing happens. I'll release the safety. Boom. That's all there is to it. How about that? Pretty simple. Pretty good tools. A lot of fun to shoot. Just makes a lot of noise, and my neighbors love it. One of them anyway. Alright. So, last but not least, this is my belt. Real simple. My mags are not in here. They're in the safe. But my pistol, I choose the, hold on. I choose the M&P. I choose the M&P 40. That's my primary carry. So, and it is safe. No bullet in the chamber. That's the one I carry. I carry a shield for my EDC. Or I'll carry this sometimes. I'll carry this, or I got a SIG 45. Depends on whether it's a 45 day or a 40 day. So that's what I carry. I don't carry anything smaller than a 40. But this is a Black Hawk holster with the thumb release. I'm used to it. That's what I used to use for my duty holster, and so that's what I use. I run my radio pouch down here because I have a long antenna. I run it down here, and it actually, the radio does not get in the way. I've trained with it, and it does not get in the way, so I'm good with that. In here, I got survival kit and IFAK is in my butt pack right here. So I got a survival kit in there. AR-15 mags, I got 2 of them, 30 rounds. Green tip, of course. So I got that there, and then this is where my pistol mags go. And they're always facing forward, and they lock in there pretty good. Okay? So this coupled with my plate carrier, so you're talking about AR mags, so I carry 6 AR mags in my plate carrier. I carry 2 extras here, plus 1 in the gun. So that's 9, right? And I have 4 in a bandolier in my pack. So 13 total AR mags, plus extra ammo in my pack that I can reload with speed loaders and their own stripper clips. So if I go through that much ammo, it's a bad day. I mean, it's really, really a bad day. So anyway, simple belt, and I'm going to show you why I carry the Smith & Wesson. Hold on, let me get this out for you. There's always a reason, right? It's because I'm a Smith & Wesson armorer, right? So I know the gun inside and out. That's why I carry it. And this was my armor book when I went to the Smith & Wesson school. And if I have a question about my firearm, it's all right here, all the information. That's why I choose Smith & Wesson over Glock. Another reason, the difference between the Smith & Wesson and the Glock, I'm going to show you this, which I think is probably a key selling point on the Smith & Wesson, is this little tab back here on the magazine. Well, you can turn that and you can pull it out, right? If you're strong enough. There you go. You pull a little pin out. Now you can remove the grip off there. This is a medium. That's what I use for my hands. I don't have real big hands. You can shoot it like this if you have really, really small hands. They make a small, medium, and large back strap for these. And just so happens I use a medium. But that's one of the advantages over a Glock. And one of the things I didn't like about a Glock when I looked at them is that, especially double stack 45 or even 40, is just really too big for my hands. So that's one of the selling points for the M&P. Really a good firearm. I've probably got, I don't know, 2,000 rounds, 3,000 rounds through this particular pistol. It's never jammed. I've never had a malfunction. I do not shoot steel case ammo in any of my firearms. I just don't. I've tried it before, and my ARs don't like steel case, and I've had them jam up on me, and I've had them jam up so bad they locked the bolt forward and wouldn't extract, failure to extract. So I don't use steel case ammo. I use brass ammo. And anyway, so there you go. There's the field carry or combat carry pistol. That's my belt. And I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Take the camera down if I can get it released. There we go. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Real simple stuff. You got to check out, if you can get a hold of that CMMG 22 conversion kit, get it. It's great money saver for those that train a lot, and I train a lot. So make sure you get that. Hope you learned something from the disassembly and assembly of the firearms. Learned a little bit about my kit. God bless you guys. Keep your powder dry. Sic Semper Tyrannis.